Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton here from howtodrawcomics.net and welcome to today's video. In this video, we'll be joined by co-host Ric Bulow and special guest artist Aaron Bartling, along with our featured artist Katie Price, and the three of them are going to be banding together to give you a new type of instructional lesson where Aaron Bartling will be helping out Katie to improve various aspects of her art. And this is just a little test that we are trying out, a new kind of video, and we hope that you love it. So let us know what you think in the comments below this video. All right, let's jump into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to this new potential series from howtodrawcomics.net. I'm your host, Ric Bulow, and before we get started, just wanted to tell you about this idea you're going to see the first episode of in just a moment. The setup is simple. I bring in a teacher who's an experienced artist in the field, and I bring in a student. Each episode have a different subject the teacher will be focused on and that the student have said they need practice in. The focus in these videos is teaching more than a relaxed conversation like you get on our podcast. So you'll get meaningful value as you watch along with the teacher working on the task at hand. This is something I'm super excited to unveil, and hopefully this will be something that becomes interesting enough for you people so I can continue doing this. Remember that this is the first rough episode and there's a few kinks that need to be fixed for upcoming episodes, but if you have any thoughts, criticism or recommendations on how to make this as best an experience for you, let me know in the comments below. Without further ado, this episode the topic is about drawing from reference, and your teacher today is Aaron Bartling, showing you his approach to this topic as student Katie Price follows along. Let's get into it.
With figures is, okay, so there's a couple things. So one is working general to specific. So, really simplified shapes. And then as the piece moves on, then you'll start detailing it more and fine tuning it. But another thing you can do too is, one second. So I like to do like this kind of a thing sometimes, like as like I'm like working on the piece, and I'll just have it on like on a layer so I can turn it on and off. But it kind of just helps me see like what, like, okay, this leg, like how is the form? It's spinning, going around like that, right? So it kind of helps you to see things in a little bit more three-dimensionality, if that makes sense. And then, so I'll kind of keep those throughout, and it'll help me kind of envision like, okay, what is this leg doing in space? How is it correlating from this leg to this leg? So another thing you want to think about too is just where this figure is in space, and it looks like the camera is looking up at her. We're not head on with her, we're looking up at her. So that's another thing you want to think about whenever you're using reference. And me personally, I never do any figure work without reference. I have to have reference because I'm not a master, and two, I think it's just, if you start guessing where things are, that's when things start looking wonky, because it's like you don't really know, unless you have that visual library built up that much where you can just know exactly where everything is placed and it looks accurate, then that takes years to really nail, so.
And it's faster.
Yeah, and it's way faster, and I think
Hello?
I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I agree.
Sorry about that. But yeah, those people.
I understand what you mean.
those people that says that don't use reference is cheating is obviously don't know what they're talking about. I mean, even the greatest artists in the world, Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, and not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the artists, they used a reference all the time.
Yeah.
Mozart, his basic reference for his paintings was his backyard.
Yeah.
As an example, everybody used reference. So saying, because as you said, nobody has that mental library in their head. It's just impossible to have all that in your head. So
Yeah.
having reference, it not only makes it faster for you to work, but it helps you make it as realistic as possible. Even when you're drawing animated figures, cartoony figures, having reference is a really good idea to have all the time.
Yeah.
But
I
please
agree.
continue with what you're doing.
And another thing too is, so there's a couple things. For sure, gesture is number one. Okay, so sorry, let me step back. So when I first initially start any figure stuff, like we talked about, I'll break everything down really simple, but then I'll try to get like, okay, this figure doesn't have a ton of gesture. She's pretty stationary. I mean, there's a slight gesture going right here. That curve of her body. So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll make another layer, and then I'll just kind of like draw in an exaggerated gesture line of how I want, like where I want to see the body moving, where her chest is kind of out, she's tilted. And then another thing that I always try to think about is just when you're laying in the shapes, the relationship of the forms to each other. So like, okay, so when I'm done, when I'm completely done with the figure, I'm gonna go through everything and look, okay, here, let me change the colors so you can see a little bit. So this part, like where her hip is, so I look here and then I would look here. And then I would check the relationship of, okay, like see how you have it? This is closer together than this. You see that?
Yeah,
So,
I can see that.
or I'm trying to see what else. Or just like her hand. See, our hand is coming out.
Yeah.
This is right up against her body, her leg.
Yeah.
So this hand, this would come like in. So her hand would be like here.
Yeah.
And then this, when it comes up, this tapers around. So that would mean that all this, her abdomen would shift over a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that. It's really like, honestly, I haven't had a lot of formal figure drawing classes, but the ones that I have had, the main thing that my instructors have told me is that it's all about observation. And it's really it takes a while to learn, but if you can train your eye to see those relationships, that's what's going to help you a ton, is just being able to observe, like, okay, where is everything related to each other,
Yeah.
Also, what I can see from your drawing, Katie, compared to the reference, is that she seems much more moved over to one side than the reference. You're painting like she's more twisted to her left than she is on the reference. Like, and I think that the arm helps with that, and the white leg part also, whitened leg part. compared to the reference helps that movement to be more lean to the left than in the reference. I mean, sure, you can still. It's still good use of reference, even though you've twisted it more than she is. You're still using the reference in a good way. But if you wanted it to be more exact, you should have been more more focus on the small things there, as Aaron told you.
Yeah, I've sorry, I'm trying. I don't know what I was gonna say.
I mean, we all had to learn this. I remember how hard I fought when I first started working with reference. It took me more than it should have done to learn.
Yeah, I'm just sort of figuring out what he's doing.
I'm sure he'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through and kind of just figuring out how to adjust it all. So another thing I like to think about is just the where the collarbone and the shoulders are placed. That helps a lot with relationships.
Yeah, I always the first thing with relationships for reference is her hips and her rib cage, like, and her head. Those three things is the fundamental ways of, in my as I have learned it at least, to figure out but also the gesture of it all. Look where the head is compared to the hips, compared to the chest. If you got if you have those three things in proper line, you will have a hard time going wrong from that. Wouldn't you agree, Aaron?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those are always the three main parts to look out for. And then and then secondary comes the arms placement and the legs.
Oh, so. So you're saying it should be shoulders, hips, arms, legs.
I'd say overall rib cage, because with the rib cage, in the way you draw it in as a sketch, you kind of put in the collarbones as well, like really loosely, like Aaron is showing you.
So yeah, you can see her. This helps you know, like, okay, so her ribs are here. See how her rib is popping out right there?
Yeah.
So you can use that to say, okay, so her rib's sticking out a little bit right there.
A lot of people, when they use line art for sketching, just makes a slightly elongated circle to show where the ribs should be at first.
Okay.
And with the hips, if it's right in front, if it's stand right in front of you, that's a elongated circle as well, like, or more like it's a really loosely drawn underpants. To say, that's how I learned it. Draw underpants, and that's the hips.
Rick, how often do you draw underpants?
All the time, man. That's all I do.
So another thing too with the arms is when I'm doing the gesture, I like simplify the heck out of it. Like I said, so I'll literally just draw this huge sweeping arm like that, you know, and then like, wait, so come down like that, like, and then her hand right here. So let's see this. I shouldn't have made this on one layer. That's my bad. You want to make sure the booty pop. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah, yeah. The booty needs to pop, Katie.
yeah. So like that. See how it's having a little bit more. What's the word, like
Resemblance.
or yeah, and just more like. See, I'm looking at this shape and I'm trying to adjust it and fine tune it.
Yeah.
So this, and it's just really just observation. So it looks like she's got these rolls right here, just kind of pop out, and then this actually comes up a bit like that, a little bit more space, and this tucks behind her arm. Comes like that. And then you can even add the clothing in just so you can see like, okay, it's starting to look more accurate, you know?
Yeah, it looks really good already.
But don't give him too much of an ego boost. He can't handle it.
I can't.
Nah, but Katie, all this is something you will, if you keep pushing at it as much as you already do, it's something that will be second nature to you sooner rather than later. Especially when it's explained in such a good way as Aaron is trying to.
Mm. Something someone said was that I do the shins too short, but I think I might have elongated him on this one.
I don't think they look horrible. So another thing, just to make sure of, or that you're checking, is this leg is in front of this one, you know. So
Yeah.
so the values are going to be darker because there's a little bit of a shadow right there because this leg is in front.
So are you studying art or is it just?
I do games art.
Nice.
So it's
Where?
kind of aware. And then
I wasn't asking for a direct address. It was just out of curiosity.
oh no, I go to Oldham University in Manchester.
I knew it was a Manchester. It was an accent. I knew the accent sounded familiar.
I actually am from the Midlands.
Yeah. I was about to say that it sounded more. It did sound more Midlands though, but yeah, your accent did sound familiar.
I take you. Are you from the UK or
Me?
somewhere?
No, I'm from I'm from the greatest country in the world, the Viking country, Denmark.
Have you done a lot of live drawing?
No, I haven't. I wish I'd done more, but I haven't.
It's really helpful as well, but
Yeah.
you can take those almost the same practices you can take on these days in just by looking at proper reference from Google, really.
Well,
Yeah.
when I was in college, we did a lot of live drawing, and the way you sketch seems quite familiar. So.
Yeah, I mean,
just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I have, but I haven't done it in a while. But.
And it's also the way ProGo teaches you how to do it. As an example, if you know who ProGo from YouTube is.
Yeah, ProGo's you can I've learned so much from him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll link you to him when we're done here. He's someone you should really look into. He's really professional in his way of doing things, but not professional in the way that it sounds like, oh, he's gonna be boring to listen to. He's really good. He's an easy sounding teacher as well. He makes it sound easy the way he teaches.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot from that guy. He is amazing.
Oh wait. No, I can't find anyone under the name Progo.
Proko.
Oh, Proco.
Yeah, Proko. Well, sorry for my accent.
It's
Wow. Wow. Oh, she's just insulting us left to right, Aaron.
I know, geez, she's just putting us on blast.
Yeah.
So I just realized that I made her freaking thick. So I'm trying to. I mean, that's not bad, but she's a little on the bigger side. But yeah, if you want to move on to the next one, then we can.
Yeah.
I think it will also be the easier for the viewer to see you going from starting from scratch to show what
Yeah.
what you've been talking about.
Whenever I do sketching it, I try to break down the shapes, especially the knee, because it's quite wide in appearance.
Yeah. So, okay, let's see. And another thing too with me is I start out really sloppy, and then I go back and like clean up my line work later. But just forewarning. So her head's tilted, her neck is slightly pulling from the trapezius up. So you want to feel that little bit of a pull right there.
Mm.
And then, so what's her, okay. Her shoulder. So I'll try to lay in the shoulders too. So her shoulders are slanted. So I'll get those in.
Is that the arm that you're doing now? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Very abstract.
You're getting over to the knee now. I could see where Katie had her most issues.
Yeah, my hissy fit.
Yeah, it's hard because it's foreshortened, so it looks it's gonna be a little tricky.
Push me. Sorry.
So just look at the shape. It's basically a chicken bone, or turkey leg. It's basically what it is. So. And another thing, I know, like, this might be weird, but I highly recommend using working from nude models.
Nude models. What are they?
Yeah, for sure, nude models. Like, I would stay away from clothes for a while.
Nude models.
Nude, yeah. Mostly because, like, it's just easier to see, obviously, like, where the placement of things are, because clothes can kind of be deceiving, it's sometimes you're not sure where the forms are, so it makes it a little bit trickier, because you're doing a little bit more guesswork when the clothes are on there.
How would I find nude models? Do I just type
my favorite for is it's called PoseSpace. This is a great resource. So it's posespace.com. So it's cool because you can go here. I'll go to features. I usually do pose, and then I'll go to all.
Do you pay for it?
No, it's free. So the thing is, though, too, is you do have to buy them if you want the high res ones. But I mean, say you click on this one. I mean, I don't have to pay for it. I can drag it into Photoshop. Yeah. And I mean, that's high res enough that I can still work off of that, and still get a decent figure, without having to pay for it. So yeah, so it's cool because you can go gender, you can go all, excuse me, apply choices, and then it'll load. Really doesn't want to load.
Maybe it's only specific to female.
Yeah, I know. Come on.
I mean, if this fails, there's always porn.
Oh yeah. So here we go.
I was about to say, well, I usually just use Pornhub and press pause in the.
Oh yeah.
That's
Exactly.
easier.
Perfect. But yeah, so I mean, look at this. There's hundreds and hundreds of. You have male reference. You have female reference.
Mm.
But it's like it's great because it has all kinds of really nice poses. I mean, there's like this one's really cool for gesture. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's called postface.com.
I'll put it in the description on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, is the teacher boring you?
No,
She's
no,
over
no.
it. She's over it. She hates it.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I've just had a busy day. I'm moving in 8 days, so
Oh.
You're moving?
yeah.
Snap.
Oh, are you moving as well?
No. He said, "Oh snap."
So really, it's kind of just mapping everything out. That's really all it is, you know.
Mm.
And it's hard to do, but it's really just finding the relationship between everything. It gets tricky.
But with everything, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Practice does make perfect.
I'm still terrible, but
No, you're not.
Yes, he is.
He's really good.
Yes,
Shut
he
up.
is.
Oh,
Wow, I told you to shut up.
In the best way.
no, it's okay. I like when females are demanding of me.
Doesn't happen often, huh?
Well, there's a reason why why my nickname is Ric the Prick.
Rick the Prick.
Yeah.
I like it.
So do I. So do I. That means I don't have to like be nice or hold back.
Rick the Prick.
That's funny.
I'm even struggling to get this pose. Hang on.
Yeah, well, you didn't choose an easy pose either. Like, there's
Yeah, this is a really tough pose because it's
Yeah.
like it's hard to see like where her hips are, and it's like
there's a lot of perspective going on as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of foreshortening.
Yeah, foreshortening. That's the word. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, so this is definitely I would stick with like way more like yeah, I'm even struggling with this. So this is like I mean I'll get it, but it's like there's poses that are a lot easier. Yeah.
I think I just get I'll see something and just want to draw it, and
Yeah.
get a bit too carried away, I think.
Well, that's a good thing to do as an artist, in my opinion. Especially when you're learning, get carried away, and don't feel bad when you fail, but still know that you learned something from it.
I think it's frustrating.
Well, yeah, it is frustrating being an artist. I mean, I'm sure Aaron is still frustrated almost daily when he works at one thing or another. I know I am, but you'll learn to cope better with it the more you've done it. I mean, I've done it for 21 years now, and I've done it as long as you've been living, Katie.
Wow.
And I still get frustrated daily, and I'm sure Aaron does too. But we've also learned that it doesn't help getting frustrated.
No.
Gotta push through it.
Yeah, and if you can't push through it, maybe reconsider your job. Maybe reconsider if art is for you.
Oh
I see.
no, I still enjoy art.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's just something I see a lot of up and coming artists, like in the How to Draw Comics groups. They continue to ask that this is so frustrating for me, and how do I continue to feel motivated to do this, even though
Yes.
things are failing. And like, if you don't even know how to stay motivated, and you get frustrated and don't know how to act, then art is simply not for you. It might sound harsh, but that's the truth. Me and Aaron
Yeah.
talked about this in the podcast as well, in case you missed it. And the basic thing is, not everybody is meant to be a singer. Not everybody is meant to be a basketball player. Not everybody is meant to be an artist in any way. Some people have it, some people don't. If you don't have it, well, just admit it to yourself and move on. There's no, it's no big deal. But don't. It just annoys me, those people that asks me to actually be motivated for them or tell them how to do things for them. Whereas I'm like, if you can't do it yourself, don't be an artist.
No, I understand when I see people posting. It shouldn't be something that you need motivation for. However, it's also understandable to see people in slumps, as I think that's also part of being an artist.
Yeah. And that's a part you need to learn as well, how to not be in those slumps for so long that it actually breaks you. Because if I feel like I'm in a slump, I got a ton of ways to not be in the slump. I put on a right now. For the moment, I've seen a Spider-Man into the multiverse. I've seen that like almost 24 times now. Because I mean, it's amazingly good in itself, but it also helps me motivate me to, I want to draw now. I want to paint now, right? I see action movies, and I say Netflix is your best friend for action series as well. And I see that, and I'm like, I want to do something like do an illustration of that,
Like
stuff
the
like
Assassin.
that. I haven't actually seen that.
Have you not?
I've been told it's decent.
It's okay. If you can watch Chinese dramas that have really bad CGI, then you can put up with the Assassin.
I'm more into the martial arts bits of Chinese and Japanese stuff.
Yeah. Oh, where'd it go?
But as you're working kind of good at it now, Aaron. I think you got.
That's good, man.
And as you can see, he's already putting a few shadows here and there. And I think he does that not to. Those are not shadows that are meant to stay, but to help him with the lines and what goes in and what goes out, right? Or am I wrong here? And that's at least how I would have approached it. Add some helping.
Yeah, a little bit of tone just helps me. Figure out where the anatomy or like where the muscles are and stuff in relationship to each other.
And you can also use shadows to help with now I forgot the word again, but the perspective of the body. Like where her chin in the reference turns inwards, you can add some shadow to show that it's more turned in, just to help yourself at first.
Oh, maybe. Oh, I'm doing that wrong. Is there too much of her thigh showing on yours, Aaron?
What was that?
Yeah, is it too far down?
I think his shin is a little bit. It's a little not long enough. Like or is it the thigh? It might be the thigh actually. Yeah.
Are you talking about this figure?
Yeah, I'm just wondering because actually, no. See, is there something you have to?
The student is correcting the teacher here.
I know.
No. Because when I was drawing,
But
it, I
you
was
got a
doing
point.
it.
You got a point that there's something, either it's the foot or the shin that's not long enough compared to the reference.
Yeah.
I'm sure Aaron sees it.
At this stage, I'm still just figuring out the placement of everything, and then I'll go back in and I'll like fine tune all the anatomy, how far away everything is.
Yeah, it's this is not a point where you have to be perfect. This is
Yeah,
just where
I'm just simplifying everything right now.
you just put in the basics here, and then later comes where you perfect where you perfect it with the proper alignment and proper length to everything.
Yeah.
And that's also important. Don't get OCD too soon when you do this. Be be as imperfect as you need to be just to get the basic lines in. Be as rough as you need to be.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna see this in the at the end picture after all what he's doing right now. So that's for you to decide how rough you're gonna be.
That's true.
As long as it works for you.
Also, do you know on the leg near where you just was working, the hand? Is that a circle to show which way the leg's going, or is that a circle for the hand?
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, this is showing where the thigh inserts to the hip.
I thought so. I was just double checking.
So I just make a circle because I'm just trying to show that, okay, this is connecting to the hip, you know?
Yeah.
It just helps me to see, like, so in here, it's like, it's connected in like that, you know? So. Yeah.
We are slowly hitting the 1 hour mark.
Okay.
But but the more we continue, the more extra I will put in the video. But it's more like, so if you guys need to go, we can go now, or if you want to continue a little more, we can push on.
I mean, I can continue this another day if Aaron's busy with his other commission, as I really appreciate this already.
I mean, Aaron is also here actually to learn in a way or two, because me and him have talked together a lot. Like, he really wants to get into social media and earn a little more. Like, so this was actually an idea I put up to him. Like, why doesn't he should start selling his one-on-one sessions like this, right? So this is also a teaching moment for him to see if he's able to. So have you learned anything from him, or does he not make sense at all?
No, I have actually. The chicken drum for the leg, the whole gesture for the line. Also the back foot, as weird as it sounds. The way he positioned it made me like realize how I'd do it myself, because I've always struggled with the toes.
Yeah, I just simplify the shape like crazy, and then I'll go back in, and then once you start to delineate all the muscles, then you can start adding like
the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the most important thing to take from this, Katie, is don't be a perfectionist at all. Like, you need to do this rough. At one point, you should be able to do this in a matter of minutes. Like 5-minute sketches like this.
I should hope so. Like I said, I have learned, especially the lines.
But I have a feeling. I have a feeling you tend to be too perfectionist even from the get-go. Because I think that's all of us.
And then to finalize it, her foot should be like that.
What's going on? No. The foot should be... Wow, the foot's a little weird in the image. Doesn't quite look... It looks like she's very heavy-footed on one side.
Well, it seems like she's leaning back on her
Yeah, a back leg.
on the back leg more, so her front leg is more loose. It's not fully propped down, and that makes it even maybe harder to place properly in the drawing.
I think so.
So it's not an easy reference you gave us there to start with, but still, Aaron made sure to at least show you the basics of how to do things.
It's really good. And then also with the other image with the boobs, he helped me with that.
Well, it's good that a male can teach you how to do boobs.
Boobs are really hard.
And you're done.
I feel like men actually probably look at boobs more than women.
Well, yeah, we look more at them, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, no, what? What? No! How can you say that? No, never.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Also the website.
That website helps out like crazy.
What's it called again? I'll quickly write it down.
Postspace.
Pardon?
Postspace?
Hudderspace.
No, pose.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's
Pose.
okay.
Pose space.
Hudderspace.
Yeah, POSE space.
I've got it. So, are you like American?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm Scandinavian. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
No, he's American.
Oh, I actually believed you then.
No, yeah, that's funny. No, yeah.
Katie, I have a feeling you tend to believe him a lot in what people are saying.
I do.
I wouldn't say gullible because that would be me. That would be mean. So I'm just saying that
No, I'm definitely gullible.
you have faith in people. That's good. See how I saved it there.
Mm-hmm.
You managed to refill that grave you dug.
Oh, don't talk about digging graves, Mrs. What is that in the background? Is
What?
that? But that's a kid. Oh. Yeah.
No, I asked if it was a parrot.
Yeah. God.
I am so sorry. It's the way the connection was. All I
Yeah.
heard was,
Yeah.
like, the
Right.
screech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that.
You already dug that grave, Katie.
Oh, it's okay. The non-existent parrot can fill it.
Yeah. So look, see how I'm looking at this shape? So so for her hand, it's like, and then I'll just simplify the heck out of it, and see how it's starting to take a little bit more form.
Yeah.
All right, so this is all in shadow. And
Now that looks like my girlfriend now.
ouch.
I can see why you look at her boobs more.
I still need to blow her up, by the way. She's a little flat.
Oh,
Oh, you're
Balance
one
of
of
the
those
land.
That kind of girlfriend, guys. That took you too long. No. No, this is YouTube. Oh, it's a gun. Okay.
What did you think it was?
Yeah, what did you think I was drawing, huh?
And stop recording. Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good. Thank you very much, Aaron, and I hope you'll be back for another session at some point.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah,
Okay.
same with you, Same with you, Katie. I mean, even though
I think we should do color sometime. That'd be fun.
Colour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy for that.
well, we'll see you in another session then.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you. And that looks really good, by the way.